like sweeping up and stuff after Red eat it because it's Red. That's always calm.
What did he eat?
I don't know if what's the name one of them something, but it's always crumbs left somewhere. Like,
I forgot this camera thing doesn't. No, I'll send a maintenance thing. I forgot. I thought it was some other issue you had. This thing here. Oh, Lord, I'm just making a dang on mess. Y'all excuse me for a second. Let me get this. I keep wanting to turn the camera sideways. I gotta figure out some way to set this camera up. Hey y'all, this me going live. I'm gonna try to go live like once a week, at least once a week. It's always gonna probably be on the weekend. My daughter heading out. I'm going to get her something to eat. Hey, Jenna's line. That's my daughter heading out. I'm trying to figure out where to set this camera up because I want to hold it this way, but that's the wrong orientation. So where can I put it? How y'all been doing? You know, my last live, I didn't even ask how was y'all Thanksgiving. I forgot to even ask about Thanksgiving. And now we're about to be in the Christmas. It's almost Christmas. I'm about to put my groceries up. I'm trying to figure out where I can put this camera. Well, phone, because y'all know I still use my phone. Where y'all can see me. Let me see. And let me show y'all something. I did a little bit more decorations in my living room. Is there a way for me to turn this? Oh, how did one of my lights go out? Let me see if I can put it back on. I think this battery going dead. Oh goodness, I wanted to show y'all it. Let me try to turn it around, y'all. So I got these lights. This is some of the decor in my living room. That one went dead. I gotta plug it up. But I got these little lights on my wall. These little LED. I thought those were so cute, y'all. My daughter wanted pink. Oh. Excuse me, y'all. Let me try to get back to the pink. Oh. Okay. I wanted to show y'all a little bit more of my decor in my living room. So I got this rug off Amazon. And that's my wall decor. But how have y'all been? Rez, I need a charger. I need to charge my lamp. Yeah, let me hold this charger. RN, are you doing the bridge or are you doing the full program? And are you going on BSN or ASN? Because my first piece of advice is make sure you're ready, because ASN is very rigorous. I believe the BSN is as well, but I think BSN is a little bit more spaced out. ASN is a more compact program. And I find that instructors in ASN programs seem to try to want to teach on a BSN level. And so it's a little bit more, well, I'm going to say it's a little bit more rigorous. but organize your life. Like you may be a different student than, excuse me, I'm gonna put it back on me in a second, y'all. I'm trying to plug up, trying to plug up my lamp here. But what's your life like? So I was a non-traditional student, and I'm gonna turn the camera back around, y'all. I was a non-traditional student, meaning when I went for my ADN, ASN, ADN, they're the same thing. I was already a mother, had a paying bills, working. You know, I did the bridge program because I was already an LPN, and so I had to make sure I got my life organized because there was nobody I could depend on, fall back on to make sure bills got paid, to make sure, you know, I didn't have any backbone outside of my children who were teenagers at the time. Well, my oldest was in her 20s. Um, Actually, my two oldest were in their 20s, but my second oldest, he wasn't living with me at the time, I don't think. And you know, they had their own lives, and then I had younger children who were in their teens. So I had to make sure my life was. This is my daughter. This is what she's watching. Let me turn it back around, y'all. Lord, I thought I was in better shape than this. Got me huffing and puffing. So like I said, make sure you got your life organized for whatever type of life you have. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to sit it like this. If you have somebody who's supporting you, then you may have it a little easier so you can focus just on school and not other like household things, paying bills and all that. But if you're somebody who has to do it all on your own, get your life organized. I had to put myself on a budget because you know, the money I was making, I was working weekends while I was in school. And so the money I made on the weekends was all that I had to pay my bills. I didn't have any extra income. So I had to pay all the bills that I had with the money I was earning. There was no extra money coming in. So I really had to put myself on a budget. Every now and then I could pick up like a 4-hour shift during the week because in the ADN program and like a community college, you're not in school all day. People make it seem like it's all day, all night, but you may have classes from like 10 to 12 some days, or you might have classes from like 10 to 2. Then you got the rest of the day, your day to yourself. Now you may choose to go pick up a few hours of work, which sometimes I did. I would run through and do a 4-hour shift from like 3 to 7 when I could. Or you may choose to use it to study. I did that as well. I've said in a few videos that I was in the library like sometimes 4 days a week studying in a study group. But get your life organized. Try to, once you get your, I'm going to say your syllabus, I don't know what they're calling it now, the syllabus or whatever, try to read up on some of that stuff, or watch videos on YouTube. YouTube helped me a lot because even though I was an LPN, there was stuff I still was unfamiliar with. Like LPN really touches, you know, it just touches the base of the stuff you're gonna learn as in the ADN program. We really went in depth in the ADN program, pathophysiology wise, and so I would look some of that stuff up on YouTube to try to get, you know, just get a better understanding of different parts of the different systems of the body. And even with all the getting myself ready, getting my household in order and stuff, I still had to study a lot. So I would say get your household ready. Go ahead and study the systems of the body because that's what the ADN program is really going to go in depth about. Learn the systems of your body, respiratory, your cardiac, your endocrine, I'm talking about endocrine system. Just learn as much as you can about those systems, and so you can have a base knowledge of what those systems do in your body. Especially the renal, y'all. The renal is one of the hardest systems to me. Renal and respiratory are the hardest. A lot of people say cardiac system is hard, but once you learn the chambers of the heart and you learn how blood flow, um, it's easier to learn the different disorders of the cardiac system once you know how the heart operates, how the chambers work, how the blood flows through the chambers. For me, respiratory and renal were the hardest systems. And then just take it from there. Let your family, your friends, sometimes you have to let them know, look, just don't even entice me, inviting me to things because I'm not going to be able to go. Because you got to study. Make sure your family is aware. Those that you want to be aware, make sure they're aware that you're not going to be able to make it to this and make it to that because your time is going to be consumed with studying. Uh, don't expect your tests to be easy because those tests are very tricky. You may have 50 questions test, and you may have, out of the 50, 12 questions that you just know the answers to. The other 30, 38, you're going to be like, what? So, but one thing I heard is that the NCLEX, the new NCLEX, is much easier than the old NCLEX. That's what I've heard. I don't know what the truth is, but that's what I've heard. Y'all, let me just put my groceries up. I'm having a party here next Saturday, a little get-together Christmas party for me and a couple of my friends, and so I went ahead and grocery shop for it. I'm about to start the prereqs in January so that I can get into a bridge program LPR, and I was just thinking about I need to start budgeting and say, yeah, because that's what I did. I did a bridge program, and I thought I knew. I thought because I was an LPN, I was going to be like, oh, I got this. I'm an LPN. At that time, I had been an LPN for 18 years. I was like, you can't tell me nothing. Child, I got in that RN program. I was like a fish out of water. I felt like I didn't know anything. I felt like the knowledge I had as an LPN wasn't even, it was like nothing. But that may be because I worked in the nursing home just about my entire, you might as well say my entire LPN career. Now, had I worked in the hospital, I think some things would have been a little clearer. That's why I say if you're an LPN wanting to go back for your RN, it is wise to work in the hospital, because I think that would have helped me had I been in the hospital working when I got an RN program. Yep. But that's really what I can say. Your finances, your family, your household. Get all those things in order. Get a budget together. Make sure your car is up to par. Make sure you're able to get back and forth to school. Because I remember in my LPN program, I had a car that was on this last leg, and I remember I was carpooling, and it was my day to drive to one of my clinical sites. On the way back home, my car started acting up, and we slow rolled it all the way back to my place, and my car broke down after that. So, and that school at that time was an hour away from where we live. I thank God we made it back to my place, but we slow rolled it, and that was back when there wasn't Uber or Lyft or any of those things. So it's a little easier now because you do have those different transportation services, but then those calls. So, oh goodness, here we go, having a remove people. So I'm like I said, I'm throwing a little Christmas party, and I'm in charge of the meat. All I'm doing is chicken and fish, y'all. I gave up pork. I gave up red meat, basically. So it's only going to be chicken, fish, and turkey as of now. I don't know what I'll give up next, because I think I can give up turkey before I give up chicken. So that'll probably be the next to go. And I'll be just chicken and fish after that. Chicken and seafood. I'm not gonna say fish because I love tuna. Y'all, I'm trying to stuff this freezer here. Is that everything? Oh, yeah, just about. So, what's y'all plans for Christmas? Are y'all working on Christmas? I'm working, y'all. I'm working that whole week, that Monday through Thursday at work. Oh, goodness. I'm about to break a nail. I probably couldn't avoid all of this until closer to the day of, because I don't think I can fit all this in my freezer. Oh, Lord. Well, it's not looking like it want to fit. Some of this stuff I feel like I need to throw away because I don't even know when I'm going to cook half of this stuff. My daughter going to be so upset because she said she was going grocery shopping to have stuff to cook during this week, and I didn't leave her any room in this freezer. Stuffing it with this fish and chicken. She's going to be too upset with me. Put this back up because I don't want this ice maker making any ice. Almost done, y'all. Let me try to find somewhere to fit the rest of this. Okay. Oh, goodness, I think that's it. Okay, we got that in there. Do y'all have any more questions? Oh, God, I forgot I left. Y'all excuse me. We're trying to stuff all this stuff in here. And my son ordered all these dang on Hot Pockets. And he didn't even open the box yet. I don't even know how long we had these Hot Pockets for a while now. He hadn't even opened the box. He just be throwing stuff in my Walmart order just to throw it in there. And I just be hoping he'll eat what he ordered because y'all know he doesn't eat. He's a very, very picky eater. And so when I think he wants something, I try to get it, anything just so he'll eat. And then he just throw the stuff in the order and don't eat it. Get rid of these bags. Okay. I see 6 people on here. Nobody's asking any questions, so I guess y'all will just roll along with me. Rolling out of the, oh Lord, I didn't mean to put y'all in the dark. I'm sorry. We rolling out of the kitchen now. We rolling into the bathroom. I bought some towels. Trying to finally get my towel decor up in this bathroom. Okay. Oh my goodness. How did you make friends in ours? Let me see. How did I make friends? So, okay, so the RN school, the RN school I went to, I had already worked in this city for a year before I got these towels the same. I want a different color green. But anyway, I had already worked in this city for a year before I started school. And so being a nurse, you'll learn if you nurses travel in like you might work with a, if you're like me, I job hop. I probably had no less than three different jobs in a year. Like I'll have a full time and two PRNs, or I have three PRNs. Like I change jobs frequently. I have always done that my entire nursing career. And for me to say like now I have a place that I plan to stay to is a miracle. But in the year that I've worked in nursing in that city, I ran into a few nurses that I work with who we didn't become friends on a job, but we were cordial. It's not like we didn't go hang out, we didn't do any of that, but we were cordial. And so when I started the Bridge program, there was one nurse that I had met out in the nursing world who we ended up being in the RN Bridge program at the same time. And we we knew each other, hey, and speak. I don't know. I just kind of had I hate to say it, I kind of have a personality that like people gravitate to. They wanna talk to me, want to get to know me, and I'm also a vocal person when it comes to saying what's on my mind, which is not always a good thing because sometimes I feel like it gets me in trouble. But I'm vocal as far as saying what's on my mind, or if I have questions about something, like you know how some people are scared to speak up, scared to ask questions, scared or whatever to do this. I'm not. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say all this, but I'm not over friendly with anybody. Like, I'm not going to go out my way to speak to anybody. I'm going to speak as far as if I run across somebody, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. You know, because I'm Southern. I'm going to do that. But I don't go out my way to talk to people. So anyway, one of the women that I met, one of the nurses that I met in the field working for that year that I was here, she was in the same bridge program with me. And we started communicating off of just schooling. And I realized that she really knew her stuff. Like because she had lived in the city her whole life. She even knew stuff about the teachers at the school because she had already went through the same RN program and she failed her NCLEX like 5 years prior. And instead of her going back and just trying the NCLEX again, she took the whole thing over. So she knew a lot. So we kind of developed I'm gonna say friendship because even to this day now, it's 5 years later, we still talk to each other on the phone. She is one of the best nurses I have ever met in my life. Like I feel like that girl could be a doctor if she took that initiative to be that. Because when I tell you that girl know her stuff, she know her stuff. And we just started communicating, and then um, I found out that there was a study group through her because a lot of the ladies that were in the study group at that time, they lived on her side of the city. I still was renting an apartment on another side of the city, so I didn't even know there was a study group. But when I found out there was a study group, I would drive from the part of the city I lived in, and it was like 30 minutes away to go study with them. Now in between, during that time, that was like right a semester before I purchased my house. So once I purchased my house, I was in on that same side of town that they were on. But I just started joining their study groups. And like I said, I'm vocal, I'm friendly, but I'm not over, like I don't overdo it. And I just we just bond like that. And I was a woman of a particular age. Y'all know when I went back, I was probably, I think I was 39, 38 or 39. And I graduated, I was either 40 or 41. I can't remember because I graduated in December of 2019. No, 2018. I think I was 40 already. And the women in my study group, they were like 35. They were older. All of us were already older. I think there was maybe one person that was like 28, 29. But most of us were 35 and older. And that's how I did it. And my study group, I'm still cordial with a lot of them. Like where a lot of us are still Facebook friends. A lot of us have worked with each other post graduation. But as far as still being in communication with them, I'm in communication heavily with three people that I graduated with. I'm in heavy communication with them. Um, but that's just how it was. I just talk to people. I open my mouth and I actually talk to people. If I have a question about something and I notice somebody in the class has a better grasp on whatever we're covering, I'll go up to that person. I'll be like, hey, can you explain that to me? Because I didn't understand it when, the instructor was explaining it. And let me tell you, when people have knowledge, they don't mind telling. Like if they feel like I hate to say it like this, sometimes when people know more than you, they don't have a problem telling you, like explaining to you. They don't have a problem. Sometimes it feeds their ego to like have to teach somebody else. So, and I didn't mind. It can feed their ego all day long. If I don't understand something, instead of going to the instructor, because you really don't get that one-on-one instructor time like you need, I go to somebody I realized in class knew it, and I would get them to break it down to me and explain it to me. Like when I learned about the study group, I wasn't invited to come to the study group. I was told they had one, and I asked, "Oh, where y'all meet at? What time y'all meeting?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm coming." Like that's how it was, because I didn't know those girls. I don't live in the city. I didn't live in the city that I grew up in, and it's only one that I knew. So, excuse my nose running, y'all. It's that weather change. So I wouldn't be too focused on making friends in RN school. I would be more focused on making, what's the word? What's the word? Not friends. Maybe connections. There's another word for it. If y'all can think of the word, tell me. I'm thinking of not connections, networking. Kind of like networking, just about in RN school. Because this is not all about being friends. You can be friendly, but not be friends. I was discussing that with my daughter today. I was like, everybody is not going to be friends as long as you're friendly with those who are receptive to it. Associates, yeah. Yeah, associates. That's a better word, Jenna. Yeah, associates. Because let me tell you one thing about it. And another thing I was good at was not telling people my grades, because you would be surprised if you make a 88 on a test and somebody make a 76, they'll kind of shy away from wanting to help you on the next test. I don't know why that is, but I wasn't really vocal about my grades. Because if somebody, like if you make a 75 on a test and somebody else make a 58, and that was the somebody, and 58s are very possible, especially on those first two tests and those nursing programs, they'll kind of shy away from wanting to help you. So instead of telling people what I made on tests, unless it was somebody that made higher than me. If it was somebody that made higher than me, well, so this if somebody made higher than me, I didn't mind telling them what I made on a test, because they're not gonna feel any type of way. If they made an 85 and I made a 78, they're not gonna feel any type of way. But if somebody say made a, like I've had people, I remember my first semester, there were people who made like 76. Okay, so I'm gonna say that cardiac test, and it's another one after the cardiac. They normally give you those two, the cardiac and the respiratory, I believe. Those are the two hardest tests. Those are the tests that a lot of people fail, and those are the tests that a lot of people end up dropping. So that first test, I remember that cardiac test, I think I made a 74, but people were making like 62, 58. Some people made like 76. So the person who made a 76, and they were within my circle, like the study group or the people that I were getting to know, they made a 76. I was like, oh, I made a 74. But if say they made a 68 and I made the 74, I'll be like, girl, I ain't made much higher than you. I'm like, girl, I didn't make much higher than you. Shoot, I'll be like, yeah, I barely made it. Like I didn't make much higher than you. Like I never will come out and tell them, oh, I made a 74, because that will make them feel some type of way. Or if they tell me like they made a 68, I'll be like, girl, I understand, because, whew, child, I didn't make much higher than you. I never just out and out lied and said, "Oh, I made a 68 too," but I'd be like, "Girl, I didn't make much higher than you." And I start talking about how hard the test was, and then I'll start asking them questions about different questions, like, "What did you put for this one, or what did you put for this one?" But yeah, you'll find that when you make a higher grade than some people, they'll want to help you less if they're someone who really helped you. And those first two tests are the ones. Now, those second two tests, everybody in my study group made like 80s, around the 80s, somewhere in the 80s. And then that last test, everybody made in the 80s or 90s. So by that time, it didn't matter how you feel about what I made because I'm in there like swimwear till we get to the final. And I was good. And I tell people, don't go into your final needing higher than, I'm going to say, a 66 or 68, because if you need higher than that, you're probably going to struggle when it comes to the final, if your finals are like the final I had. So when I went into the final, I had to make at least a 66 to pass, which passing for the school I was in was 80%. I had to make a 66 to pass. A 66 ain't all that easy to get. It was 100 questions, 1 point each question. The questions from our final, they weren't all the questions from the four tests prior. Some of the questions were new questions. Some of the questions repeat, but some of the questions are new questions. And so a 66 isn't always guaranteed, but I was in better standings needing a 66 than somebody who needed like an 82. And I actually made a 70, I think I made like a 77 on the final. So, but yeah, that's how I got around with the grades, because you will find that people will get upset if you make higher than them. And even though I made a 74 on my cardiac test and passing is an 80 for the overall class, I never failed the test because a 74 is not failing. When you come to those first two tests, a 74 is good. I remember talking to one of the a girl in my clinical rotation, and after her first test, she made like a 50 something. And I was telling her, "Girl, don't drop. Don't drop. See what you do on the next test." And the next test she did better. She made like I think she made a 80 or something like that, or a 78 or something. I was like, "Don't drop, don't drop." I was like, "These next two tests going to be easier. They're always easier, the last two tests." But she ended up dropping because she was just not secure. For some reason, she wanted, I mean, I'm not going to knock nobody for this, but she wanted to be an AB student. Being a C student wasn't enough for her. And I remember telling her, "Girl, you're going to take the same NCLEX with your C average that the student with the A average is going to take. Don't drop. You just delaying your," but she ended up dropping. And I see that she ended up graduating the next semester. Um, she ended up graduating the next semester. She dropped our semester, but she probably would have made it on through had she kept going, because she had like, I think, a 50 something or a 58 or a 60, low 60 on the first test. She had like either a high 70 or low 80 on the second one. I was like, "Girl, you good." Because the next two tests you're gonna be good. But she dropped. But yeah, that's how I did it. If you made higher than me, I'll tell you my grade. But if you made lower than me, I'm gonna be like, "Girl, I didn't make much more than you." I never come out and say the actual grade because none of them were really my friends like that. So I didn't have to tell them what my grade was. So I just be like, "Girl, that test was hard. I didn't make much. I didn't make much higher than you." Something like that. Boy, these some. You know what? I'm sitting here thinking about nursing school, child. That was a traumatic time in my life, and it was all nursing school that was traumatic about it. Nothing else in my life was bad. Nursing school was just, whew. Mm. I'm just glad it's over. I can't believe it has been. Has it been 6 years now? I graduated in 2019. Child, I gotta count on my fingers, y'all. It's been 5 years, from 19 to 20, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20. No, 19, no, 18, 18 to 20, 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22. It's been 6 years. Wow. Dang. 6 years since I graduated. Yeah, I feel like, you know what? I feel like the ones in the ADM programs are hard because for some reason I feel like I can't say that they feel like they should be working in a higher in different institutions like maybe universities because they just make it so. Let me tell you, we had to write so many papers in my ADN program. I think I wrote. I'm not gonna lie and say it. I wrote as many in my ADN program as my BSN, but I wrote a lot of papers in my ADN program, and it was ridiculous. And I would talk to people in other schools, and they were like, "We're not even doing all that." Yeah, it was ridiculous. They are hard. They are really hard. You might find one or two that are, kind of not easy, but not that difficult. But some of them, that most of them are hard for some reason. And I have no idea why. You can't even go and rate my professor and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be in this person class or I'm gonna be in that person class," because you're gonna be in whatever class they put you in the nursing program. How do you feel about agency right now? I feel like facilities in my area are paying more than. Okay, I haven't met. You know what? I hadn't worked agency since the summer. I feel like the pay is like on par for what the jobs are paying now. Agency is paying just about the same as the jobs. So even working in the hospital with all the differential on the weekends and night shift differential and all that, you almost making the same as what agencies are paying even for hospital work from the contracts that I'm seeing because I still get text messages for offers for acute care and it's like 2600 for some of them what 412s, 2600 for 412s or 312s. I think the highest I've seen is like 2800, and for as high as the cost of living is now, because the rates, the agency rates have decreased, but the cost of living remains higher. Like I bought an 18 carton of eggs and it was $6.35. So I don't feel like the agency rates are really that good to me anymore. I just feel like the autonomy from being able to work where you want to work or not work where you don't want to work, that's what makes it worth it. I remember I was going to move to the Richmond area at one time. I went and I looked around. I did a application for an apartment. I ended up doing an application, and it's a place near Richmond called Hope. Is it Hopeville? Hope Holly? Some No, I lie. It was near St. Petersburg. It's an area start with an H. I ended up doing application for there, but I applied for the there's a facility that was called, oh goodness, what's the name of the facility? It was Heartland. Hopewell, yeah, that's it. But I ended up applying for a facility called Heartland in Richmond. I think it was in Richmond because I was working at the Heartland in here in South Carolina, and I was doing a transfer. And they hired me and everything because it was a transfer. But at the last minute, I changed my mind and didn't move. Yeah, it was Hopewell. I think that's closer to St. Petersburg, right? Not Richmond. But the job was in Richmond. Yeah. So Jenna's life, they say Florida's not paying, but on the last live I did, Shonda was on there and she seemed to be making pretty good in Florida. She shocked me by what she was making. She recently graduated with her RN there in Florida, and I want to say she said she was close to Fort Lauderdale, but I'm not. Or maybe she was just telling me to visit somewhere in Fort Lauderdale. I think she might be closer to Tampa. But the rate she was saying she was going to be making in that she was going to be making in the hospital was pretty good, and I was shocked. I can't remember what she said she was going to make, but I remember thinking, "Dang, that's pretty good." And it was a residency program that she was going to be on. It's closer to Richmond. Okay, yeah, I didn't move. I remember I was going to. Sometimes I regret not moving. I even went and checked out I think it was South University up there in Richmond because I was going to go to South University instead. And I did some test or whatever they administered at South University. I was going to go there straight. I was an LPN at the time and I was going to go to South for my BSN. Some test they administered and all that. And at the last minute, like I said, I changed my mind. I mean, all things worked out how they worked out. I think had I moved, I mean, nothing would have been different. I would have still got my RN, but I would have probably ended up owing more money. Oh, your facility is offering the incentives for staff or for agency? Because the way I work, they're not even offering incentives. I mean, not where I work, but the long term care facilities here in South Carolina, I don't think they're really offering incentives anymore. But a lot of them still utilize a lot of agency. People are just really agency. They don't want staff job. They still sticking with agency for the basically so they can work when they want to work, which I don't blame them. Like I said, I know like the agency I use a lot here. One of them still pays $50 an hour, but they don't have that many for RNs. LPNs they have a lot of options, and the pay is like 36 to 40. But for RNs, the pay one pays 50, and one and quick was it shift key pays from 42 to 44. And now at that time right now for my staff job I'm making that, so or close to that. I'm either making 42 or 44. I don't know which one with the shift diff because they gave me a salary, so I didn't really break it down into hourly wage, but I think it's close to 42 or 44. So for me, it's not worth working agency anymore because I was getting canceled so much at long term care. Y'all know I'm not going in the hospital. I was getting canceled so much long term care through agency. Um, because they're going to cancel me at $50 an hour if they can get a LPN who's going to come in at $40 an hour, which I don't blame them. I ain't mad. I know they all about their bottom line, but I needed more stability. But a lot of places are trying to keep agency out, but they catching it. Even a place I was on PRN, they took me off the roster because it's been over 30 days since I've been there. They were trying to keep agency out, but they had agency out for a period of time, but they heavily use agency now because remember I told y'all a lot of the nurses were in school for their RN. All of them except maybe two have graduated, and all of them except those all of them are PRN now. Even the ones that are still in school, they're PRN now, but they graduate. The last two that are left, they graduate in May. All of them got their RNs, and one of them became a DON. Like I said, he hadn't had graduated like for a full 6 months. I don't think he was an RN. He got a DON position. The rest of them are PRN. So that facility is using a lot of agency now. I thought about rolling through them as an agency nurse, but y'all know I don't want to work no more than what I'm working now. Yep. I didn't know this. Ooh, I didn't know this looked this bad here on camera. That's that edge control I be putting on there try to hold some of this natural hair down. It's not doing a good job, but yeah, they trying to keep agents. They're trying, but they're not gonna be able to keep agency out. Yep. So it's been a little while since I did long term care, y'all, but I still know long term care. I got me some bonuses coming in too, because I've been able to get a couple nurses that I know to come over to my job. So I'll be getting a referral bonus for them. And I'm going to give some of the referral bonus to them once I get it, which I think that's only right because I'm be honest, one of them I don't even know. Like I told somebody who knew her to tell her to come, and I was telling them how the job is and this and that, and both of them decided to take the positions, and so I'll be getting a referral bonus for them. But one thing about the referral bonus, they didn't ask me about the people. They never asked me anything about the ladies, their work history, or nothing. So if they don't work out, all they put on that application is I referred them. That's it. So it's not like I told them anything about them. So I'm looking for that. Those bonuses to come. I don't know when they're gonna come. I need to call HR. So I'll be getting those two referral bonuses, and I think they're $500 a piece for each employee as long as they stay. I think 90 days or 30 days, something, and then I should be getting some of my bonus. When I took my job, y'all, I didn't I didn't remember there was a $3,000 sign on bonus that was offered when I took my job. So I should be getting my second payment sometime soon because I've been there. I got one after 60 days, I believe. And let me see, I started in July. So July to August, August, September, October, November, November, December. So in January, I should be getting another part of my bonus. That'll be 6 months. And I think the last part will be in a year. Yep. But if any of the new subbies are watching, how y'all doing? I'm Muriel, I'm Nurse Muriel. I've decided that I'm just going to be doing lives mainly once a week now. It's going to fall on the weekend. I would announce it, but I don't even know when it's going to be. It might be a Friday, might be a Saturday, might be a Sunday. Because it kind of works a little better for me. So I don't have to be doing all that editing and all that. I can just come on here and talk. If y'all have any questions, y'all can let me know. I mainly know most about long-term care. If you got questions about schooling, nursing, excuse me, getting prepared to go to nursing school or nursing school, you can ask me. I've been doing this a long time. I've been LPN for 18 years and I've been an RN now. I've actually been an RN almost 6 years. I took my NCLEX that February, but I graduated in 2018. So, been an RN for a little while, did acute care, caught some of that traveling money they was throwing out there when the whatever was going on. Now I'm in a stable job that I'm actually content with staying in. I'll probably be with for the long haul, and it's working for a state agency. So just to give a little introduction, if you're new and you're watching this, yeah, I used to say I made this channel for people of a particular age, for like 35 and up, because I'm an older nurse and I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and a lot of the channels I used to watch for nursing, they were younger, and I just felt like I was in a different place than my in my life. So I wanted to make a channel for like the older nurse. I'm 47 years old, but I realized I can't limit it to any age because it don't matter if you're 20, 21, 22, you're going to struggle in nursing school just like the older nurse going to struggle. So yeah, and all I can really tell you about is long-term care because I really know, I could tell you a lot about long-term care because that was the majority of my career, but I have done some acute care, which y'all know how I feel about acute care. Yep. But yeah, so I just wanted, I hadn't been on here. I try to do at least a minimum of an hour. So I'm going to be on here for about another 12 minutes. And oh, my daughter's back. I could tell because that music playing on that show. She watched that show. She watched all the Bad Girls Club or Baddies and all that stuff. She in there watching Impact. She had me watching Impact New York earlier. Now she got me watching Impact Atlanta. I've done CPR a few times. I had to do CPR. I'm about to say once, but that's a lie. I did CPR a few times in the nursing home. Um, but the most traumatic CPR I ever, which I'm not saying in the nursing home it wasn't traumatic. It was traumatic in the nursing home as well, but it wasn't as intense. CPR in the nursing home isn't as intense as the one in the hospital. I had to call a code in the hospital one time, y'all. The patient was like, I think she was 22 years old. That was the scariest thing I had to do in my life. I was like it was bad, y'all. But by the time, first I called, a matter of fact, I didn't even call, what do you call that? The people that come before CPR? I didn't even call rapid response, honey. I just called the code because she just, she just went out. And honey, I had to start CPR, but we knew she was going bad because she was showing signs of it while I was in the room with her with the CNA. So I ended up having to call a code. Everybody came in from all the departments and did their thing, and I was so amazed, y'all. I was so she didn't die, y'all. She didn't die on. I'm gonna say by the time I kept checking because once they moved her off my floor, once they did the code and everything on her, they got her back. They did all the. I'm trying to remember. Um, y'all, I'm getting older and I'm forgetting things. Cause there's a thing in code where they do the H's and the T's. It's something called H and T's. I can't remember what it is. I haven't had to do it since. But what is it called, y'all? Not BLS. It's another level of calling the code ACLS. I wanted after that code, I wanted to get my ACLS because I was like, y'all, I was. It was so intense. It was just intense. I mean, they was pushing like all the drugs on her. They was everything that you do during the code. They had to do to her in that room, and she was my patient, and I was so nervous, I was so scared, but everybody came in, the physicians came in and took over, somebody from respiratory, just like so many people came in, and once they took her from my floor, because I was like, she got to go, she got to go. Because I was on the med surge floor, y'all. That girl had so much stuff going on with her. The day before I worked with her, they had called, she had like a rapid response called on her the day before. And um she was the type she couldn't, it's like any narcotic just put her out, and the doctor had prescribed like point 0.2 2.5 of oxy, and it sent her into a cold. She was a very non, like she wasn't an easy patient to deal with as a nurse either. She was calling her grandmother on me because she didn't like that I was trying to abide by the doctor's orders of bed rest, wanting to get up out the bed and doing all kind of stuff. And she coded, and once they took her from my floor, they left her under my thing for charting because I had to get my notes in, and they allowed her to stay under my thing for charting so I can get my notes in because it was a lot of notes to put in behind her. And so I was able to follow her from like floor to floor, the different areas they sent her in. So I had gone day shift. That's when I was day shift. So by the time I left that night, she was still alive. They had put her on. They had put her in the ICU unit, I believe, the MICU, medical ICU, or progressive ICU. One of them. She was put in one of them units, so I was able to see that she was. By the time I got off that day, she was still alive. But y'all, after that cold, I was like, yeah, I got to go. It was so. It was intense. If y'all, I can't look it up right now, but y'all look up the H and T's when calling a code. If y'all got if y'all got the ability to do it while y'all watching me, I can't remember what they stand for though. Rez, bring me your phone. Let me ask my. I'm gonna look it up. I hate that I can't remember, y'all. Let me hold your phone. I want to look up what the H and T's mean during the code. Okay, cause y'all, I was so nervous. And she was so young. Not to say it would have been any better if she was older, but you all in the. Let me see what the H and T's mean. What you got going on this phone? Okay. It's saying the H and T's are a mnemonic device used to remember the most common causes of cardiac arrest. Okay, however, in practice, while performing CPR, often in stressful situations, it is difficult to remember all four T's and four H's. So this is the educational moment. Difficult to remember all four T's and four H's causes: hypoxia, hypokalemia, hyperkalemia. Well, I'm gonna break it down. Hypoxia means low oxygen. Hypokalemia means low calcium. Hyperkalemia is high calcium. Hypothermia is low temp. Hyperthermia is high temp. Hypovolemia, I think that means low blood volume. Tension pneumothorax is that's with the lungs, pneumothorax. Tamponade, that's a cardiac tamponade. That's something with the heart. Let me get my son out of them because he dressed in his bed clothes. Cardiac tamponade. I want to say that is. Oh, that's a cardiac question. Cardiac tamponade. I think that's a thickening of the heart walls. I'm gonna look that up just to be sure too. I think that's a thickening of the heart walls. Thrombosis is throwing. Well, not. That's a clot. Thrombosis is a clot. Embolism is a traveling clot. And toxins, which is different toxins in your blood. Okay, so let me see cardiac tamponade just to make sure I was right on what that is. I think it's the thickening of the walls. Oh, I was wrong. Cardiac tamponade is a life-threatening condition that occurs when fluid or blood builds up in the sac around the heart, preventing the heart from pumping enough blood. Okay, I knew it had something to do with the heart. Okay. So that's the H and T's. That's a mnemonic device used to remember the most common causes of cardiac arrest. But yeah, you learn that when you do ACLS. So if you want to go for your ACLS, oh, what are the H and T causes of PDA? Well, that's different. But anyway, yeah, I've been in colds. The ones in the nursing home, they're not as complex as the ones in the hospital because commonly in the nursing home you're doing compressions and breaths. I've seen now that they have a lot of AED. They have AEDs in nursing homes now, which is good. So you're given electrical, I say shocks, but y'all know. We do that in the nursing homes now, but it's usually breaths and respirations. Um, but in the hospital, it is more complex. It's very interesting. I wanted to cry because she was so young, and it took them a while working on her to get her to get any type of reading, because you get hooked up to the EKG and all that. So it took a little while to get a reading, but I said that was so scary. So yeah, I had to do CPR. But my position, once I was doing the compressions and stuff before they came in with the crash cart and all that, and after that, everybody else took over on that part, and I was doing like taking notes. And the one thing that they were a little upset about is that so many people came in the room and a lot of the people weren't doing anything, and nobody really said. I think it was supposed to be my job to say who does what, like who's taking notes, who's handing over the whatever off of the crash car, who's doing. Nobody really had gotten any assigned roles like they were supposed to have. People were just doing what they do, and I was so happy because I was in shock. Like I was in shock because I really was involved in the code in the hospital. So it's a little different than the ones in the nursing home. Yep. And then the nursing home, I had a code where EMT came and they was using that thumper. That was my first time seeing that. Y'all probably seen that working in long term care, that thumper that they put on their chest. We call it a thumper. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's giving fast compressions to the heart. And I saw that on one of the elderly people in the nursing home. And another thing about the nursing home, they do like I think they do CPR for like 28 minutes before they call, or 30 minutes or something like that. They'll do it for an extended period of time before they call. Well, they don't really call the time of death, but who calls it? I know I couldn't call it, being an LPN at the time. I couldn't pronounce at that time when I was in the nursing home. I think the EMT called it. I think the EMT ended up calling it. We had to call a coroner and do all that. Um, but that was on, like I said, that was a full cold patient. A lot of the patients in long term care aren't full cold. So if they're DNRs and I see them looking like they're about to, like they're getting to where they're getting too acute for us to I call the hospital in a minute and get them. That's my thing. They in the nursing home and they get to be real acute. And they call that doctor and let them know. how grave is looking. So we can send this patient on out because ain't nothing I can do here at long-term care for him. I can't do nothing for him. Even if they DNR, I'm still call the doctor because sometimes a lot of times DNR still get sent to the hospital. A lot of people have that misconception that if they are DNR, then we just gonna let them go. But no, we sending we sending DNRs to the hospital too. Child, we send hospice patients to the hospital. Man, that's different. But hospice ain't the hospice like it used to be. You used to not send hospice patients to the hospital, but they sending them to the hospital now, which is different. There's different levels to it. But it has been an hour. I'm gonna try to do these on Sundays. I'm gonna actually. I don't know if I should go live for my Christmas party. It's not a Christmas. It's a Christmas theme party next Saturday. I want to go live, but I don't know if everybody that's coming to it will be comfortable with me going live. So I might just record just to show y'all how we do our little get-togethers. This will be my second one in this apartment, but this one is I'm basically it's just adults. We just gonna be like I got some games already lined up, and all the games are Christmas themed. We're just having a nice little get together. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna go live or I'm gonna just record it and put that video out for y'all. If I do, yeah, I'll have that video. It'll drop next Sunday. But yeah, if y'all have any other questions, you just put them down below, and I'll try. Even though I am going to record the Christmas party next or the get together. I hate to call it a Christmas party because I don't want y'all looking for all kind of. I'm gonna have Christmas decor up, but even though I'm gonna record that, I'm gonna still come back and do a live next weekend because I think this is gonna be my thing here doing live. So thank y'all for all the questions, and I will see y'all on the next one. Bye.